Hello Bloomington, I'm Mayor Tim Busse, and this is the Council Minute for the first week of 2021. We started our meeting this past Monday at the new start time of 6 o'clock. Apologies if you missed the news about the new start time and arrived late this week. Just a reminder that all of our meetings will begin at 6 o'clock, and we've altered the agenda so that public comment will occur at the beginning of each meeting. We're hoping that these changes will make the meetings more accessible and more welcoming for residents who want to participate. We had a lot of great discussion on Monday night, so let's get to it. The first council meeting of each year is considered the organizational business meeting. We've got a lot of designations and appointments that need to be done. For example, we're required to annually designate an auditor for city finances. We need to identify the city's municipal financial advisor. We have to formally appoint a council secretary and identify the financial institutions where we'll deposit city funds. We have to name a newspaper of record so you know where to look for public notices, and we have to name legal counsel to represent the city on the sale of bonds. We also spend time at this meeting appointing city council and city staff representatives to various organizations. Our city council meetings are the most recognizable duty that we perform, but I'm sure you know there is a lot of work that happens outside of the council chambers. Transit, transportation, and workforce development are very important issues for the city of Bloomington. Bloomington is part of 3 different organizations that do policy and advocacy work on these important issues. The 494 Corridor Commission, the 35W Solutions Alliance, and the 169 Corridor Coalition each have a Bloomington council member as an appointed representative. Over the past couple of decades, these organizations have been responsible for planning, policy development, and legislative advocacy that has resulted in hundreds of millions of dollars in federal, state, and local investment in infrastructure and in local job growth. Bloomington's representatives on these groups do a tremendous job of building effective coalitions and strong working relationships with elected officials in other cities, at the state level, and even at the federal level. That time and effort has paid off big for Bloomington and the South Metro region. The city of Bloomington also has 3 seats on the Bloomington Convention and Visitors Bureau Board of Directors. The Convention and Visitors Bureau is responsible for local, regional, national, and even international marketing of the Bloomington entertainment and hospitality industry. Now, I don't need to tell you how important the hotel and entertainment sectors are to Bloomington's economy, but what you may not know is how important the Bloomington economy is to the entire state of Minnesota and to the region. It's more than a $2 billion economic impact annually. The Convention and Visitors Bureau and the City of Bloomington view ourselves as stewards of this vital economic engine for the state of Minnesota. Another organization you've probably never heard of is the Suburban Rate Authority. This largely unknown group has been around since 1963 and does important work representing cities on issues related to the regulated utilities industry here in Minnesota. It's a joint powers organization of 34 cities that represents more than 850,000 residents. The Suburban Rate Authority weighs in on rate cases involving Xcel Energy, Quest Communications, and CenterPoint Energy at the Public Utilities Commission, and over the years, this group has saved ratepayers a lot of money by intervening in these regulatory processes. There's also the Bloomington Fire Department Relief Association Board of Trustees. The city's fire chief, the chief financial officer, and 1 city council member are ex officio members of this Board of Trustees. The trustees direct the administration and the oversight of the Fire Relief Association's pension policies and investments to ensure that after taking care of all of us during their careers, Bloomington firefighters are taken care of in their retirement. There are other assignments that our city council members have, but that gives you a good sense of the kind of work that happens outside of the council chambers when your city elected officials are working for you. One of the wisest decisions made by Bloomington City Councils in years past was to create a strategic priorities fund that allows the city council to direct resources to special projects and needs. Each year, the council directs somewhere between $750,000 and up to $1 million to projects that are related to the city's strategic plan or are one-time projects that don't fit within the regular operations of the city. This week, we discussed the items that fit within our strategic framework. One of the most important things we've invested in over the past several years is the Housing Rehabilitation Loan Program administered by the city's Housing and Redevelopment Authority. The HRA provides low-interest, deferred loans to help homeowners who are reinvesting in their properties. Now, this is a critical piece of our strategic pillar of focused renewal, which aims to keep our housing stock in good shape and to ensure that our residential neighborhoods continue to be attractive and competitive in the marketplace. Now, aggressively funding the Housing Rehabilitation Loan Program is especially important right now. Increasing property values means that many homeowners have additional equity in their homes, and record low lending rates mean that financing these large rehabilitation or expansion projects can be much more affordable than in years past. The HRA's Housing Rehabilitation Loan helps to close that gap on these projects, and it can make a difference for folks who are looking to reinvest in what for many people is their most valuable investment, their home. More information about this is available on the city's website. We also discussed other projects that fit within our strategic plan. In the area of equity and inclusion, we talked about resources necessary to advance our racial equity business plan. In the area of sustainability, we'll be supplementing funds in the city's operating budget to support the work plan of our Sustainability Commission. We talked about creative placemaking efforts that will support our strategic pillar of improving the community image. In the area of transparency and engagement, we talked about initiatives to improve the accessibility of information to the public as well as community involvement in the development of the city's next strategic plan. And related to our strategic pillar of high-quality service delivery, we heard from the city manager his intent to develop more rigorous performance measurements to ensure that we're meeting your expectations for the quality, efficiency, and affordability of the services we provide. One of the annual traditions of the Bloomington City Council is to have a discussion at the first meeting of each year on issues and topics that are of high priority for each of the council members. The conversation this week demonstrated that there is a lot of common ground on the priorities of this council. Topics that were mentioned by multiple city council members included a restart on the conversation around a community center or centers of community. As I'm sure you know, the city's been looking at possibilities in this issue since 2014, and that work stalled out in late 2019. But as we think about the need to replace Creekside Community Center in the future, figuring out what it means for us to have communal gathering places in Bloomington is a critical conversation that we need to have. Several council members reiterated the importance of our next strategic plan. The 5-year plan we're currently working under was developed in 2016 and frankly is sunsetting. Having a strategic vision for the future of the community, one that's developed in partnership with the community, is an important next step for us as we continue to define what it means to be engaged with our residents and with our businesses. A number of council members signaled their strong desire to stay focused on community renewal in all forms, by concentrating on revitalizing our aging neighborhood commercial nodes, by continuing the incredible progress we've made developing housing that is affordable, by implementing the recommendations of our Park System Master Plan when it's completed, and by increasing home ownership opportunities across the city. Council members also discussed things already in the works, such as public health initiatives around policies and regulation of tobacco access and use, further expansion of the collaborative work that we're doing with our community partners, the school district, Chamber of Commerce, Normandale, and our nonprofits serving Bloomington, consideration of an earned sick and safe leave requirement for workers at Bloomington businesses, and continued exploration of what it means for Bloomington to be a community of choice and how we position ourselves to be that place. You can expect much more discussion on all of these topics as 2021 unfolds. Well, that's a wrap on this week's Council Minute. I hope to see you all again next week. Stay safe, Bloomington.